Word. Okay, welcome to Flip the Script podcast with Anita Tequila. Today I have guest Lynn Stewart, the CEO of Elevated Identity Coaching. How are you doing today, Lynn?
I'm great. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I appreciate it. I'm
Thank you
excited.
for thank you for showing up. This is our first podcast episode in ages, so we're just now getting footed. It's gonna take us a while to get grounded again, but we're just gonna have regular light conversation. Today, the topic of this podcast episode is going to be surrounding the quote that you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Lynn, what do you think about this quote? What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so I think there is some truth in the quote because first impressions are powerful, right? People naturally want to make assumptions with second-based appearances. Like we look at people's appearance, we look at body language, we look at energy, we look at how confident somebody is or communication styles. But I also believe this quote is incomplete. Life has taught me that people evolve. Some of the strongest, kindest, most successful people I know weren't understood when people first met them. As the first impression is simply one moment, that doesn't explain somebody's entire story. So instead of saying, you never get a second chance to meet a first impression, I'd rather say, first impressions introduce you, consistency reveals you.
Oh, I like that. That is deep.
Yeah.
That sounds like a much better way to put things. Absolutely. And I totally agree with you that we do have to care about how we show up. We do have to stand in who we are as people. But my thoughts on this quote is that it's very the negative connotation that comes with this quote, at least from what I have experienced, it teaches you to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. It teaches
Hmm.
people to show up wearing a mask, and then when you first meet that person, like we all say, we always meet the person's representative first. And to me,
Right.
this quote encourages that type of behavior from people.
Yeah, I definitely agree because I mean, especially when you go, say for instance, we're going to put this as like a job interview. When you go to a job interview and you think about that quote, first impressions are everything, you're trying to bring your best foot forward and you're not naturally being yourself even in a job interview because you just got the
Mhm.
pressure to be impressive, to be what this
Yes,
person wants you to be. And so that is a form of a mask.
you're
People put
right.
these masks on and they don't often become their natural self. So that is, I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, and you touched right on one of my points that I was going to make. I have some examples here of how that plays out. And it says an employee hires a candidate who appears to the interview dressed to impress with all the right responses to the interview questions. The candidate is hired, and soon after they are found in non-compliance. They are non-cooperative. They're starting drama on the workforce. But the issue is that the employee hired that candidate because of how they appeared at first. So that was definitely one of my points that I was going to make, and you touched right on it. I wanted to share some information. There were um social two psychologists and sociologists in particular that I wanted to bring up. One was Irving Goffman. He had this theory called impression management. When what he says is that humans are like actors performing on a stage. Life
Hmm.
is the stage, other people are the audience. And for most of our lives, we're walking around performing roles.
Hmm.
And I found that to be very, very interesting. And another psychologist or sociologist, a founder of sociology and psychology, is Charles Cooley. He has this concept called the looking glass self. And what he says is that we develop the concept of ourselves based on how other people see us. We are constantly seeking approval from other people. So to me, the way that makes how that relates to a wolf in sheep's clothing is that we make these deliberate efforts to create favorable initial images of ourselves to impress other people. And though that image that we create, it changes depending on the crowd. It changes depending on the audience for the most part. The whole
Yeah.
time our true identities are concealed. And when we do this type of stuff, people are easily able to manipulate you
Oh
because of
yeah,
this.
absolutely.
Oh my God, I should say something. Okay. So
Yeah.
so
But
gosh.
this is okay.
Okay. So I like what you shared so far, but we on a good page. We're on the same page so far. I like the input that you added. I have a question, Lynn, really quickly. We're gonna make this podcast short, sweet, and simple today because we're running out of time. We got a late start. We had technical difficulties. Lynn, my question to you is, you have a client that says, "I don't realize who I am. I realize that I don't know who I am. All of my life, I have been conforming to social scripts. I have been fighting to please the world and the people around me. But now I want to focus on pleasing myself. Can you help me elevate my identity? What strategies would you use? How would you help this client?"
Okay. So I would first thank her for her honesty because saying I don't know who I am is it's not a sign of weakness. It's actually the beginning of transformation. Most people spend years wearing masks without ever admitting it. The first thing I want her to understand is that she isn't broken. Somewhere along the way, she learned that she had to become what other people needed her to be in order to feel loved, accepted, or safe. Okay, so many times we've done that. I've even done that, you know. We've become the daughter everyone expected, or the perfect employee, or the caretaker, the people pleaser, the one who never says no, or, after a while you lose sight of those people and that person underneath those roles, right? My approach isn't to tell her who she should be. I want her to help herself uncover who she's always been beneath the fear, the pain, the expectations, the labels, and I start by creating a safe place where she'll feel safe enough to be completely open and honest with me and allowing her to feel comfortable so that she'll know she's there in that comfortability without judgment. I mean, because healing begins where pretending ends, right? We got to heal and stop pretending what we thought or could be and just be open and say, you know what, I'm not actually all put together. I just need help in this area. And that's where the healing starts and that's where the real transformation starts. Um I would start thinking about deep questions like who were you before the world told you you weren't who you should be? What parts of yourself do you feel abandoned? Or do you just keep people comfortable at a certain time? Do you value yourself? What do you value? What brings you peace? What brings you joy? And then when do you feel most like yourself? I would ask those questions to dig deep. We also have to look at the beliefs she's carrying. Many of us live by the stories that we didn't even write. I'm not enough. I have to earn love. If I disappoint people, then I'll leave, then they'll leave me. Or, you know, it's all about challenging the beliefs and replace them with truth. Like you're enough.
Mm,
You're made perfect already. You don't have to be trying to strive for perfection. You got it in you already.
right. Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
and then towards the end, I want to say I do encourage journaling, self-healing, boundaries, letting her know that, take some time alone, learning to trust your own voice again. And our identity is rooted in who we say, not what other people say.
Right. That part. Yes.
And
Yes.
just reminding her to discover who she is. It's not about creating a whole new person. It's just about peeling back the layers of those negative um thought process that she has, the shame, the fear, and even like you said earlier, the performance. That's so key because
Mhm.
sometimes we do it without even doing it naturally. We just do it because we're so accustomed to or we're taught to be that way. It's just different reasons why we perform. But that's so true and I agree with that psychologist. My goal isn't for someone to leave my coaching to be dependent on me. My goal is for my clients to leave trusting themselves, walking confident in their purpose, and knowing that their worth has never depended on anyone else's validation.
Mm,
Because when you truly know who you are, the opinions of others no longer have the power to define you.
that part. That is
You
so
know?
true, Lynn. That is so true. I want to thank you for sharing that. Those are words straight from Elevated Identity Life Coach Lynn Stewart. I couldn't have said it better. I love the way you flipped that script earlier. Can you repeat that for me, please? When you said, instead of saying you never get a chance to make a first impression, what are we going to say from now on?
Let's see. What did I say? When we were talking about flipping the, can you remind me? I'm
There was
sorry.
something that you said earlier. I know I forgot to. Don't even worry about it. So when you said instead of saying never get a second chance to make a first impression, and you said instead of saying that, you said your first impression is who you show up as, and your last.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So I said, instead of saying that, let's say first impressions introduce you, consistency reveals you.
That part. That is our flip script, y'all. That's it right there. First impressions introduce you, consistency reveals you. I couldn't have said it no better. Lynn, I want to thank you so much for what you have shared here today. That's a lot to take away. That's a lot of gifts. That's a lot of knowledge that somebody listening can use. Can you take a moment to tell us a little bit about what you offer as a coach?
Okay, so basically, my mission is to empower people to heal, grow, and rediscover their identity so they can walk confidently in their purpose, embrace their worth, and create a life aligned with who they are created to be. My vision, I envision the world where people stop living for approval and start living from purpose, where they choose authenticity over perfection. Excuse me, I'm sorry, and healing over hiding and courage over fear. That's basically what my vision is. We got to be authentic. We got to stop thriving for perfection and just go with what we have to go through in that moment. We already are made perfect, you know? And
Yes.
that's what I
Mhm.
want my clients and I want my friends, family, and everybody that I interact with. I just want them to tap into that.
Yes.
Um, I don't just teach this work, I live it. Everything I share
Mm.
comes from my own journey of healing, my own growth, my own faith, and choosing to keep moving forward when life tried to, knock me down. And if my story helps a person, I believe it's definitely for them. And
Yes.
every challenges we face in life, we have a purpose. And because you want to change who you want to see, you can change that if you really choose to find direction for your life. And that's what my coaching style is, and that's what elevated identity is all about. So that's a little bit about it.
Yes. Thank you so much. And a lot of people, that's all they need is a little bit of guidance. A lot of people already have, we all already have what we need inside, and all we have to do is dig for it. And sometimes people only need a little bit of guidance to know how to dig, where to dig, what to dig for. And that is what Lynn is
Right.
offering with her coaching, elevated identity coaching. I'm going to leave the link to her business and information. If anybody wants to get connected, if anybody feels that they may want and they may need a little bit of guidance or just a little bit of support in trying to discover who you are, rediscover who you are, elevate your identity, build on your support, build on your confidence. Lynn is your girl, and I will have her information in the details of the this podcast episode. I want to thank you all for chiming in, and we'll catch you guys next time on Flip the Script.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Bye bye.
Thank you. Don't